Hello, and thanks for joining the session. Today we're looking at that podcast again, and we've been spending a few sessions now on Easy Admin. And 2 sessions ago, I finally made the call to not use it anymore. It's not working very well for our use case. It just wasn't really fitting the bill. So let's see where we're at now. We have a very vanilla dashboard. And for the first time on the last session, we were able to see a list of episodes and store and manage content using our new Fly System Asset Manager, more or less wherever we wanted to. So if I go into here, I can edit, and I can change this image, which is something that I was not able to make happen. Pretty much any of the work that I had done before with 2 different bundles and trying to do Easy Admin directly, it just wasn't happening. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are now. So what I'd like to do is focus a little bit more on being able to edit episodes, make this listing look a little... Right now it's more or less a copy of what we have on our homepage. But what I'd like to do is make it a little bit more admin-y. It doesn't need to list all of the stuff that it does here necessarily. I just want it to feel more like it's looking at the admin page. I'd also like to make this look like a button. I'd like the edit screen to have more information on it, like more of the fields, just so that it's more complete, because right now it's not really what I would consider feature complete. And possibly even work on adding a rich text editor for the description, for at least the description field. So that's kind of where I'd like to go. I'd also like to be able to add new episodes. So I want to create a form that'll allow us to add a new or add a new episode as well. So right now it's just doing edits. So we're going to jump right in. I think I'm going to try cleaning up this list really quickly. Let's see where we can go here. All right, so I think we have the index. So this is where we're at. Really, the image is super large. It doesn't need to be that big at all. It's questionable as to whether we need it here at all, but it is sort of helpful for me to be able to see it at this point. But let's do extra small. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so extra small is still pretty big, but I think that's fine. I think the time stuff is probably okay to list here. So I'm going to leave that for now. Episode probably doesn't have to be that big. Or episode title. I like having the episode number right there. So let's do PY2. Let's do text normal. I just want to see what normal text base. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Again, I'm using Tailwind for this, so some of this stuff is still pretty new to me. So text base is just doing the base size. I'm going to do for the text for the subtitle. Let's do that as text small. Is there a medium? No. Text small, font normal. So this takes the bold off. Text gray darker. It's fine. I'm going to remove the padding here. All right. Each one of these right now has a padding of 16 for the Y. So I'm going to bump that down a bit because I don't really need that. And then we have the top border doing gray. Let's do border gray, lightest. We'll do lighter. Lightest is fine. Oop, that's not what I want. I'll leave it at gray, I guess. I get the feeling I've already tried that. So, all right. For the date doesn't need to be quite that important here. So the date probably can just be down here. Let's see if we have the class. All right, so if I move that, I don't need any of this information on the controls. So I don't think that's going to give us anything useful to work with. And then maybe class will do text small here as well. All right, so let's go ahead and leave it like this, at least for now. I think I want the image to be clickable to go to the actual show. So I'm going to copy this bit here, just for the link. Even while I've just been playing here, more often than not, I click on the image hoping I can actually go in to edit that episode. I don't need any of these, I don't think. Yeah, so now I can actually click on this and go into the episode as well. So in either case, I'm able to do that. So that's good. You know, come to think of it, I don't think we really even need the subtitle. The date's probably okay. Really, we don't need that either. So I'm just trying to simplify things here for us. All right, so if we go in, now we actually see some of this information. If the actual download is there, we should show it. So this is actually in show. There we go. So inside show, we still have the information. Here, things might be a little different because we might not actually have the media yet. So we should only show a download link if it exists. If episode dot pristine media, yeah. So if that's something that's there, show this. And I think this is actually just the download, so this is not even the pristine media. So let's go ahead and do episode.download. There we go. So in theory, this won't show up if we don't have anything there. And if we don't have a file, we aren't going to have a duration or a file size. So actually, let's move this out here. All right. Okay, so let's make this a button. I think we want the edit link up higher, though. So let's add that up here. I don't think we have any things that make things buttons yet, so let's just pretend. We want border. Let's do border green, rounded, and PY2 and PX4. That didn't do what I thought it would. Border. I need to actually give it a size. Okay. Hadn't actually expected that. I don't know why this is overlapping. I think it might be because it's inline. If we do block, there we go. Well, it doesn't really work like I wanted it to. inline block. There we go. At least now it has the appropriate padding that I expected. And then let's do BG green light. All right, so now we have an edit button that actually looks like a button. So I'm fine with that. Let's do no underline, text. Darkest. All right, so we've got an edit button that actually stands out now, which I think is nice. Let's add this in a little list. And reset the list. All right, and then have the list have PB4. All right. Well, we did something different here for that button, but that's fine. We'll leave it like this for now. All right, so we can go in and edit. So let's see what other fields we need here. So we need to have everything that's already on our episode, more or less. So if we go into our episode, let's see the fields we have. So ID, ID, number. So far we have to open up our episode DTO. So number, title, subtitle, background image. All right, so we have number. So we don't have GUID, so we should add that. And I don't know if we're going to reuse this DTO for both create and edit, but I think maybe we will and just see how well that works. Might not work very well, but. All right, so we have to add media. So we already have background image. Let's do media. And pristine media. I know we'll need those. Duration, file size, path. So subtitle, GUID, file size, duration, and path. Might have those backwards. No, yeah, duration, file size. All right, what else we have? Background image width and height. We actually need to do something with that too. So public background image width. I'm not even going to bother that, I guess. I think they have null values by default. All right. Width and height. Background image credit by. I'm going to copy these now that I think about it. So credit description. All right, let's do those. We're just going to trim this stuff. Okay, what else we have? Publish dates. And pristine media. Okay, so I think those are the fields that we need to be able to handle here. So we have essentially got a lot of them to add, I guess. All right, so let's go to edit Episode type. Okay, so background image required false. Some of these I'm going to have to probably set as required false. Let me double check. No, okay, we don't have to actually. Oh. I think it was just this image that the file type, you have to specifically override it to be required false. All right, so we need all of these. All right, so we need a number type. You know, some of this stuff is going to be in the background, so I don't know if we actually want to add them. So some of the stuff that's going to be handled manually, like the background image width and height, I want that to be done automatically, so I don't want to expose those. There's no real reason to. So we aren't going to expose them for now. But we do want to be able to allow someone to specify the background image credit. All right. And then we need a URL and description. Content HTML, these are going to be the fields that I want to use the rich editor for. Content HTML, iTunes summary, and transcript. Publish date. We're going to want to use this as a date time type. So date type. All right. I think we want to use a date time type. All right. And then media and pristine media. So we already had background image. We're going to do the same thing for just pristine media, actually. So the media itself is something that will be hopefully post-processed. So we'll do pristine media. All right, so we don't need media, and we don't need, we already have the other value set. Okay. So this is going to be one of the weird things about using the form component manually is when I go to edit, I think it's going to just generate stuff for us. Nope. Background image credit by. Oh. Decided to make these private for no reason. There we go. All right, so this is the behavior of the Symfony form component that when you call, if we go back to edit, if you call form end, what it does is generate any field that you've forgotten to manually show. So that's why this shows up like it does. So it's kind of nice because it's a catch-all, but also it can be a little confusing if you weren't really sure what to expect there. I don't like how this publish date shows up. Form date time. So I want to say that there's a way to mark it as optional. date format, date widget, days. Override options. Let's see. Well, this actually looks wrong. Can't be a datetime string. Because it's saying that this is single text box or 3 select fields, but it's actually rendering as 5 select fields. I wonder if I have to manually set this as not required. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So by having it not required, it set these to empty fields by default, which I think is what I want. Options, inherited options, datetime type. I know that Easy Admin had the option to essentially have a checkbox that it won't show it at all if you don't want it set. All right. Okay, so let's go back to our actual template. We can do different sections here. So we have the background image. We can do essentially background image credit. I want the URL last. I think that we have the description here. All right, so when I re-render this now, what's going to happen is these pre-built fields down here should show up stylized up here. All right, so background image created by. Okay, cool. And then the actual background image here. I think I might want to move the background image above. There. Here. So we have a H1, we don't, so we'll do so I'll eventually want these to be different fields or different sections and stylize this a little nicer. So it's just kind of showing what that might eventually look like. All right, so content HTML, iTunes summary, and transcript. This is just going to be more copying and pasting. Do published date here. Which it doesn't look very pretty, but I'm going to be fine with that for now. Going in and editing the widgets is something that clearly Easy Admin had that all dialed in, which was pretty awesome. But for now, I don't really want to go spend a lot of time on that. We can get to it eventually. So publish date. Let's see what other fields we have. Content HTML. I'll put those at the bottom. So let's see, I just copied and pasted something, right? Yeah. At the bottom. It's possible we might want these to be like full screen standalone things eventually, but for now I think this will work fine. And then last one was what? Transcript. So this is where the Tailwind side of things starts to fall down, is all of this stuff is being copy and pasted everywhere. If I decided I wanted additional spacing around something here, it would be kind of a pain in the butt. Eventually I'm going to want to try and extract components out of these, I think, so that I don't have to worry about that. Making this actually look pretty is going to be difficult later, I think. All right, so we have content, HTML. These are actually strings. So I think what we want to do is specify these as text areas. So content HTML, we'll do text type. Let's see what that does. That didn't change anything for how it's behaved. Let's do form types text. It's possible it's an option that we say how it is handled. So hidden type, no. Disabled. Extra. I guess there's a text area type. Okay, so did a little bit there, which I guess that's going to have to be good enough. We'll do that for the others as well. And we no longer need that. Cool. And then I'm going to move pristine media up as a type up here. So background image, it's just going to be the same sort of thing as background image, but it's going to be above here, above the publish date. Cool. So there is no content there currently. This is where I'd probably want to have a download button or something along those lines here later, but I'm not going to worry about it now. So we've now filled everything. The Save Changes button is now the thing on the bottom, which means whatever we had, we don't have any fields that we haven't accounted for here. Content HTML is now required. We need to remove that requirement. I feel like some of these types have this inherent idea of whether or not that field should be required, which is a little odd to me. All right, so this particular episode. We're going to edit it. All right. I should probably see if pristine media actually works. But I'd have to update the controller first. All right, so let's go into the episode controller. So we now need to copy all of this other information in. Episodes controller. Because we were doing some fun stuff here, but not nearly enough. So episodes set background image URL. Credit by image credit URL. Description. All right, so what else we have? Set number, subtitle, those were already there. All right, so content HTML. Yeah, we'll need those. Content. I guess we can do the content HTML ones. Episode, iTunes summary. Transcript. Let's see, so title, pristine media, we haven't handled yet. Publish date. Episode. We did all of these, we did all of these. So I guess pristine media is the only one left. The other thing that I wanted to do here was to do something with the width and height. So let's do get image, image size. All right. And this is going to return an array. So we'll do dimensions, and then we need to pass in the file name. So we're going to pass in the same file name that we're doing here. And if dimensions, so I think it's width by height. All right. Return values. Width and height, yep. Here we go. So this was something also that was way more complicated with the Easy Admin solution. We had to actually write a listener that did all sorts of things. Here we know exactly what we're doing, when we're doing it, and why we're doing it. So I'm very much happy that we made this decision, because this is just more clear. So we need to do a similar thing here for media, our pristine media. So let's go Here we go. And background image is pristine media. So this DTO will be filled with an uploaded file at this value in these cases. So we were able to inspect the upload and do things with it, but it is a Symfony uploaded file at this point. Here we need to generate a pristine media path because this is the pristine media. Everything else should stay the same. We're still getting the original client name, getting the client MIME type and the size. Episode set background image file, okay. Dimensions, get image size. This we don't do because this is not going to be something we care about. All right, and we need to set pristine media with the file. So let's see what happens here if I click save. All right, set publish date must be an instance of date time null given. All right, so that's because here published date is nullable true, but set published date is not. So we want to do, so occasionally we might want to set the published date to nothing. That should be allowable. Okay. All right, return value of get published date must be an instance of date time null returned. All right, so that's actually here. We need to allow this for null. Okay. Edit. I'm actually surprised we're not seeing any. Okay, this is actually not good. The other bit we were missing is we were no longer filling up the DTO with all of the information. So we did it here, but we didn't do it here. So that means that we've now overwritten a bunch of data to be blank. So let's do everything from subtitle down. We need to set these. So let's do episode DTO to bar. Everything from episode to all right. I'm going to change this to equals episode get. Then we'll have to fix some other things to fix some capitalization problems. There we go. So change this to lowercase. You know, actually, that was fun. Let me see if I can do multiple cursors. So I've not actually done this with PHP Storm before. And then I can do code, I can't remember, change case. Edit. Toggle case, here we go. That's nice. I've never actually done this before, so that's kind of a cool thing. I'd only recently figured out that PHP Storm had multiple cursor support. So Control-Shift-U. Yep, there we go. I think that did it. And the only other thing we needed here was, no, we don't need it. I was going to say we needed media, but media needs to be null on this case, so that's fine. So if I reload this page, nothing. So these values are empty, and that's because we've actually destroyed data, which is unfortunate. But this is dev, so that's okay. If I go to this episode, it will hopefully have information. All right, so we do have background image credit, image description, background image credit URL, content HTML, and iTunes summary are empty. Transcript, meanwhile, has everything. All right, so let's see what we got here. We didn't change these. Yet somehow it worked. Why did content HTML not work? It's content HTML. Let's check the database to see if the database has this information. Content HTML. Oh. Huh. A little unclear why those are empty. All right, let's run our import. File not found. All right. Okay. Let's go back here. I think we're going to end up with different names. Wow, it still doesn't have content HTML. That's interesting. Because we appear to have lost some data. The one with Geocodio does have data for it. Okay, so that does have content HTML and iTunes summary. Oh, it's treating them the same. So that must be something with the ingest script that was broken. iTunes. From Jason. Instance content is content. iTunes summary. All right, so is our export broken? Wow. It is. That is awesome. All right, so episode blocks content, JSON encode raw. Huh. Wow. So it's interesting to find out that everything you were working with was broken. 1018. Block content, end block. What? All right. So I guess I forgot that we had stopped doing content. So it is right. Just took me a minute to figure that out. All right, so these two are the same because they were actually the same. In the case of this one, these values were empty to begin with. Okay. I guess we'll allow that because that's just the way it is for now. We do have this value. Not sure that's right. Let's see. Do we have a, where's the date? Oh, we do have a date. It's in seconds. All right. So this was October 18th. All right. I guess we'll this looks like this is right then, so I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, cool. So the next bit, which hopefully I can do relatively quickly, would be adding a new episode. So let's go to edit, copy our, no, show, copy this, and to the top of our index. And admin episodes create, no episode ID. All right. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. So we don't want show, we want create. Create is going to look a lot like edit. So let's open edit. And let's see if I can. so create HTML, which is passing in an empty episode. So that wasn't necessarily what we wanted, but I guess it'll be fine for now. For edit, we'll copy this in most of its entirety. We don't actually want to pass the episode because we don't need to. Call this create admin episodes list. All right. Let's see which values we needed: the request and the fly system asset manager. All right, so all right, we don't need to populate our DTO with values from the object itself. Actually, this might actually be wrong, because this might override your changes. We'll have to look at that in a second. So let's see. So here we want to do episode. New episode. Unlike the other version, we can't just call flush. We have to persist it first. So persist $episode. All right. Otherwise, everything else might be more or less the same. So let's see if we can render it now. It needs an episode because of the background image, but we don't want to show that. So, all right, background image. Let's actually not even do anything with the background image for, well, no, we better. Episode controller. Just realizing how this might actually end up being somewhat complicated, specifically because this, I don't know what happens if you resubmit the form without uploading the pristine media again. Save changes. All right, so it's going to require a number. Let's see where we at. So let's do 55. Let's see how far we can get. Okay, episode. Null value in column GUID. All right. So I don't really like this part of it, so we need to actually give it a GUID. Do we have? Yeah, let's go ahead and install a UUID generator. I don't need doctrine. I just need this. Oh, wrong one. Looks like someone just joined in chat, asked a question. I'm doing great. Hope you are as well. I am using a framework. I'm using Symfony, and building a backend right now for a new version of that podcast website. This the front end looks like currently. In the back end, I'm trying to essentially build my own form. I've been using one of the canned solutions that comes with I was using a canned solution called Easy Admin, but it wasn't really working out very well, so I'm kind of rolling my own ugly looking thing here. And I'm trying to use a UUID now, and I need to figure out what's wrong here. Episodes controller, so it's actually failing here. So even though it's a part of the cache process that was failing. All right, so cache clear, great. So I can set GUID to UUID. It's not tab completing for me. There we go. And we'll do, there we go, V4. So we're just going to create one here. And that returns UUID interface. So I'm going to cast it to a string. I think that will work. So let's see here, save changes. All right, create from URL, must be of type string, null given. Get background image. All right, so I'd actually created the episode, I believe. So let's go back to the list. Okay, yep. So it's actually, we need to do a check on here. So let's go to index. The problem is that it's getting confused because it's trying to display the background image, even if there isn't one. So we already did this check elsewhere, but we haven't done it here. So if episode.background image, then we want to do something with it. We don't want to try and display it if we don't have it, because it's not going to do the right thing. And in fact, it's throwing an exception. Where else is this probably coming from? Get background image. So I think this needs to do something smarter. It needs to actually return null if this doesn't exist. So if not, I think we might have already done that with pristine media. But maybe we didn't. Anyway, let's see if this works now. All right, cool. All right, so episode 55 is listed here. It doesn't have a title. So create worked. And so this is on show. Background image. You do the same check here. Oops. There we go. And if we go into edit, must be an instance of null given. So we also have to do that on edit. All right, cool. So we're able to get back into edit it. The next one, subtitle, I don't know, right. Let's try to give it a background image. Credit by. Cool. All right, and let's try to create one. So episode 66, another new one, yay. And let's create it with a different background image. Let's see if we can create that from the get-go. No, it didn't. All right, so let's double check and see what happened there. So if it had a background image, get it, generate a background image. It's trying to do that. Let's see what we have for the URL. So background image URL. Yeah, I didn't actually set it. Interesting. Did it get the width and height though? Nope. Let's try one more time. So for episode number 75, we setting pristine media. That's going to be a problem. Okay. Set this to Keynote. So I did actually upload a file. It just uploaded it differently. It assumed it was the MP3, so definitely need to do more validation here. Also, this isn't very clear. So in chat, I'm just going to call you JL. And chat, JL says that they haven't used Symfony before, but they've used Laravel and it's met their needs very well. Yeah, Laravel is great. I will probably try and do some Laravel sessions as well, because I need more practice with Laravel, but I've also been wanting to get into some of the new Symfony stuff, especially with Symfony 4 and Symfony Flex. It's making things a lot more tolerable for me. Symfony for a while was getting to be a little too much, but I've been enjoying it so far on this new pass I've been doing. So I'm going to save this and see if we get, there we go. Cool. So I did upload the Keynote, and if we do a find episodes, guessing we're going to see something in pristine media that looks like an image. So we have pristine media MP3, pristine media Skyline Alpha. So that's the problem. So if we go to this episode here, I think this episode actually has some pristine media already there. Yeah, definitely. I'd say go ahead and give PHP, or give Symfony a try. What have you been working on instead of PHP? Other code or non-coding stuff in general? All right, so I think this works. The pristine media, it isn't clear that that it actually exists on this page. So all in all, for this session, I didn't really get all the things done that I wanted to get done. I did add episode edit and create, and those are both working. Capture width and height, that's actually happening. That wasn't happening before. Didn't get to add the rich text editor, so I think that's probably what's going to happen on Monday when we return to the That Podcast series. Symphony Messenger, I think I'll try to set that up as well. What I'd like to do is when someone uploads new pristine media, I want it to actually trigger a command or trigger an event that will trigger a command to start processing the pristine media and do some things with the ID3 tag. So, for example, this is episode 66 with this title and this subtitle. I want the MP3 from the pristine media to be updated with the correct information here so that we can then upload it with that information. Because right now that process is very manual. This would allow us to do a lot of really cool things and not have to worry about that MP3 anymore. So we can even embed the background image in the MP3 itself. We can give all of the iTunes summary could be written into the MP3 again. Right now, that's not the case. The MP3 that comes directly from our downloads doesn't have all of that information in it. So I want to get the Messenger up and running for handling that sort of thing. So I think we'll probably do these two things or one or the other on Monday. So JL's been doing Node.js. Sounds like there's a lot of work for Express and Node. Really liked, but still prefer to use JavaScript just for front end. Yeah, I haven't done a whole lot with actual server-side Node code in the past, but I do very much enjoy JavaScript, both on the front end and the back end stuff that I've actually done, but hasn't been a lot. So, well, good luck with the PHP stuff. Thanks for joining today. I'm going to be doing another session here in 3 hours from 8 to 10 my time. I'm going to be switching to do more work on Astrocasts website itself. So we're going to try and clean up a couple of things, maybe change a little bit of the styling. Let me see. Live sessions, bootstrapping Astrocast. We actually list the upcoming episodes now. So I want to fix how the upcoming sessions are listed. And I also want to work on using the Vimeo API to get things like duration and possibly do some other automation related to Vimeo. Because right now, if we go to the admin page, the admin page here is there's a lot of work. So eventually I want to customize this as well. But as soon as I get the Vimeo ID in, I want that to be able to trigger some things to fill out some other information, possibly even the title, get that updated, probably the publish date as well. So this publish date actually represents the date that Vimeo, or the video was published on Vimeo. So that's what I'll be working on tonight. Thanks again and have a great day.